Hey everybody, in today's video we're going to be talking about all the different backlight settings that are available on your Garmin Forerunner 955 watch. Now, if you've watched videos of mine in the past, you'll notice that this is pretty similar to the Garmin Fenix 7 as well as the Instinct and the Instinct 2 models. So you've got a lot of different options. The first thing I'll say is the easiest way to do these backlight settings is to go on your Garmin Connect app on your cell phone. All of the settings we're going to be looking at on the watch you can do on your cell phone. You can simply sync the information over to your watch, make all the changes without even touching your watch. But in today's video, I'm going to be using the buttons on the watch. I won't be using the touchscreen functionality, and we're going to go through our backlight settings. So we're going to start by pressing and holding the middle button on the left-hand side. You'll notice when I press the button, my backlight turned on. That's actually a setting we're going to see here in a second. This will take us into our menu. Then once we're in our menu, I can use either the up or down button. And we're going to go down. I should have used up. We're going to go to System. We're going to press the upper right button. The upper right button will always be your select button. We're going to select System. And then under System, we're going to again use up or down. And we're going to go down to Backlight. Press the select button again, the upper right button. Now here's your different backlight settings. And you've got a few different options or subcategories under here. During activity means what is the backlight going to do when you're in an activity on your Garmin Forerunner? So if I'm out doing a walking activity or a rowing activity or whatever, cycling, how will my backlight operate? The next setting is general use, which basically is any time other than when you're in an activity or other than when you were sleeping. And then last but not least, you have during sleep. So during sleep will be the predefined times that you set are your sleeping times. What will the backlight do? And we're going to go through and we're going to look at each of these. You're going to notice, let's go through during activity. I'm going to select it by pressing the upper right button. And I basically have some options. Keys and touch. So if I use the touch screen or if I press a button on my watch, will my backlight turn on or not? Currently it's set to on. If I want to change that, I can go to off or I can go to after sunset, which is kind of a cool feature. Basically means the buttons will not do anything during an activity for touch or buttons unless it's after sunset for my given location and day for that activity. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and just turn it off. Now we're going to go to alerts. So if I get an alert on my watch, does the backlight turn on or not? Again, we can do off, we can do on, or we can do only after sunset, turn it on. After sunset is actually probably, to me, the most practical one. I don't really like any kind of light activity during an activity, but when we go to general settings, I use the after sunset quite a bit. Gesture would mean if I tilt the watch towards me, if it's on my wrist and I tilt it towards me, what happens? Again, this is just during an activity. After sunset, off, or on. Set it however you want to. You've got your timeout options, so when my backlight turns on, how long does it take before it turns off? 8 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, or no timeout. Now remember, the longer your backlight is on and the brighter your backlight, the more battery life it's going to use. And then last but not least, you've got your brightness. So you can set it to 5%, 10%, 20, 30, 40, all the way to 100%. Once you've got this set, you're going to press the bottom right button, or if you're using touchscreen, you can swipe back. So now we've set our backlight settings for when we're in an activity. Now we have to do the same thing for when we're not in an activity. General use. And again, you can do the same thing. Keys and touch. This is where, to me, it makes sense to use it after sunset. If it's after sunset for the given day and I press a button on my watch, I probably want the backlight to turn on. During the day, I probably don't, unless I just am in a location that doesn't have very good lighting. For alerts, same thing. Set it however you want to. Gesture, same thing. Set it however you want. Gesture, I'm going to turn off. I don't like the watch turning on whenever I tilt it towards me. Again, you've got your second delay. Now remember, this second delay is totally different than the other one we looked at because this will only be when you're not in an activity. Whereas before, it's going to be controlling in an activity. You don't have to keep them the same. So if I want my backlight to turn on for 15 seconds when I'm not in an activity, that's fine, even though I did 8 seconds for during an activity. So set that however you want. And then last but not least, again, you're going to change your brightness value to whatever you want. Again, brightness is the same way. 10% not in an activity. I set it for 5% during an activity. The last option you've got in here is during sleep. You can basically, again, select your brightness. When I press a button, does it turn on or not? Does the backlight turn on or not? Probably keep that on. And then again, what's the timeout? Those are your different settings. Once you've got it set, you can either press the back button multiple times to go back to your main watch face, or you can simply press and hold the middle button on the left-hand side, and that will save and take you all the way back. Shouldn't say save. The save occurred when we already hit the back button, but it'll take you back to your main watch face. Again, everything we looked at, you could do in the Garmin Connect app. I'll try and link a video to that here just so you can see what it looks like in the app. As with most things on this watch, it's a whole lot easier to do it in the app, but you can do it on the watch as well. I hope the video helps.